Shalom and welcome to another in our series of podcasts from Temple Beth Am, a dynamic center for conservative Judaism in Los Angeles. This is Meditation and Mindfulness with Rabbi Adam Kligfeld.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning to those who are joining here in Temple Beth Am in my office, to those who are joining on Zoom. Hello, to anyone who's watching on Facebook Live, either on my page or on the synagogue's page, and hello to anyone who's listening to this on the Temple Beth Am podcast. It's Friday morning. Once again, an opportunity to spend some moments together, have an experience which is simultaneously somewhat communal across physical space in this office, across virtual space on a computer, even across time, as people who might be listening to this not live, but it's something we'll have shared together. And as we've discussed many times, it's also an extremely individual experience, because the moment we close our eyes, even before we close our eyes, the only person who's experiencing what we're experiencing is us. I know that sounds obvious, but sometimes stating the obvious reinforces what's significant about it. As you know, if you've been doing this with me, I do spend a lot of my own meditative ruminations during the Omer on the spiritual overlay of these 7 days over 7 weeks. Today I'm going to do that, but slightly differently than before, because this week of the day, this day of the week is always the same day of the week. It's always been Tiferet of whatever week we're in. And that can get a little repetitive, because the Tiferet, the compassion of this, or this, it all has a certain shade to it, and there's nothing wrong with compassion. But today I wanted to focus more on the week than the day. Okay, so the week of the Omer that we are in, because we are in the fourth week of the Omer, the fourth Sfirah, the fourth Kabbalistic Sfirah, is a really interesting one. I think it's the one that even for people who really know the Kabbalah, which I don't put myself in that category, with no false humility, have the hardest time understanding what it's actually aiming at with the word. The word is Netzach. Nun Tzadi Chet. And Netzach means two primary things in Hebrew, both in kind of biblical rabbinic Hebrew and also Kabbalistic Hebrew. To do something la Netzach means to do it forever, right? Netzach means eternality on some level. But the verb lenatzeach means to win, to be triumphant, right? In biblical Hebrew and in modern Hebrew, if you say, who won the game last night, mi nitzacha tamischak, right? You're not asking who extended the game longer. You're saying who actually came out victorious. And we think about that as an aspect of God. The eternality makes sense, because at the core, the Kabbalah is the Sfirot are aspects, emanations of God. So God's Netzach, in the sense that Hu Hayah, Hu Hoveh, Hu Yeh, God was, God is, God always will be. That's something to lean into. The Netzach of God as a victor, harder a little bit, right? There are images, obviously, in the Song by the Sea and the Midrashim about that, of God being victorious. One second, someone else is joining. So there are hints of that eternality, and we can maybe lean into that. But in the personhood, I think the two definitions of Netzach are actually in a wonderful but complicated way in tension with each other, and that's the thing I want us to focus on in the meditation. Because when you are driving towards winning, you're often driving toward the short-term peak. And when you're driving towards eternality, towards lasting, you're often willing to yield winning. Right? Think of any relationship in our lives, right? You can think of a friendship or a marital relationship or a child's relationship. If your primary goal in this engagement is to come out on top, no matter what, you might, in the process of doing that, jeopardize it lasting, right? Anytime it's more important for you to win, if you want to put out call one an x-axis, one a y-axis, anytime it's more important for you to win, it might be less likely that the bond that you're winning in this moment is going to last a long time. And the inverse is true, right? If the most significant thing to you in a friendship or a marriage or a job or even a spiritual quest is that at last, the victory this moment matters less, right? If I force prayer to get me to a peak, to win, there's a good chance I'm going to flame out and I'm not going to have a 40-year prayer life. But if I invite my prayer life to be long and extended, then I'm willing to say, I don't need to win tefillah, prayer, this shacharit. I've got decades. And if I want, again, the same, if I want this friendship or this professional position or this relationship to be lanetzach, then I have to surrender nitzachon. I have to surrender winning. And I find that to be, those who study with me a little bit know that I love paradoxes, and I find that to be a delicious paradox, right? Which am I going for? And it's a clarifying paradox. Sometimes it's okay to want to win. Like there are things we have to win. But it's sometimes we blind ourselves to how our need to win makes it harder to extend. So that's the week that we're in right now. We're in a subset of that week, but I want to focus on the week itself. So with that in mind, I invite you to close your eyes. And sink into your body. Our bodies, which sometimes can feel so unfamiliar to us, even though we've been living in them all of our breathing lives. Give yourself the permission to get to know your body again, to inhabit it intentionally, and feel a spirit of goodness and wellness reaching every part of your body, from the tips of your fingers, up through your arms, down your torso, to the tips of your toes, and swelling with beauty through your head, so that it's almost the case that you are glowing in wellness, in calmness, and the presence of God. You haven't yet placed your feet flat on the ground in front of you. Move your breathing from automatic to intentional, from background to foreground, from a nothing that you pay no attention to a delight that dominates your attention. When we focus our attention on Netzach in Hebrew, Nun, Sadi, Chet. If you can think and see in Hebrew, see those letters. If you're more comfortable in the English language, just see the English letters spelling out the sound Netzach. And create two of them in your mind, literally. So you're seeing two balloons, or two walls, or two shapes. Each of them has the word Netzach on top. Really visualize the double. And look at one of them, keeping the other one to the side but present. So you know you're looking at one of two. Netzach, victory, triumph, the thrill of winning and being on top, the thrill of being certain. What are the moments of Netzach in your life? Moments of Netzach you achieved yesterday. Moments of Netzach that you're aiming for today. Where you just need to win. You need to be right. You need a victory. And you deserve it. A binary where losing is not an option. What does Netzach or Netzach number 1 mean to you today? As you explore them, particularly the ones coming up, but even the ones in the past, are any of them Netzach, triumph moments? That the moment you win, you instantly realize it was less important than you thought. Move your consciousness to the other Netzach. See your mind's eye actually moving from one space in your mental visual field to the other. Netzach, meaning forever. Netzach, meaning endurance, lasting, sticking around, not bound by time. Perhaps the grandest thing we can say of the Holy One, of God. Time and physics do not obtain. God is Netzach, a Netzach. And we have a piece of that in us. What are these types of Netzach moments in your life? Relationships, situations, commitments that should just continue, that have no expiration date, that are forever and ever and ever and ever. And as you think about these second Netzach places in your life, identify one where focusing on the first Netzach, victory, made it or makes it or will make it harder to achieve too, being eternal. Where does Netzach battle Netzach for you? For some, they may need more of the second and less of the first. Just give up on the need to win, because you really have the need to last. And some are the opposite. What's the purpose of lasting and enduring if you feel like you're always losing? Some moments and people and situations need more of Netzach number 1. So you can stand tall and noble and not feel defeated all the time. Netzach 1 and Netzach 2. Netzach, victory, Netzach, forever. They dance with each other. They sometimes conflict with each other. They are both a part of God's world and of us. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. Share the closing meditation prayer. Let's say it together 3 times. Say, may we and all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May we all be free of suffering and the causes of suffering. May we all experience true happiness that has no taint of suffering. May we live in great equanimity, free from burdening attachment to loved ones and contempt for others, but rather with compassion for all. May we and all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May we all be free of suffering and the causes of suffering. May we all experience true happiness that has no taint of suffering. May we live in great equanimity, free from burdening attachment to loved ones and contempt for others, but rather with compassion for all. May we and all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May we all be free of suffering and the causes of suffering. May we all experience true happiness that has no taint of suffering. May we live in great equanimity, free from burdening attachment to loved ones and contempt for others, but rather with compassion for all. Say shalom to everyone. Namaste. Shabbat shalom. Michael, safe travels. And Shabbat shalom.
You have been listening to another in our series of podcasts from Temple Beth Am, a dynamic center for conservative Judaism in Los Angeles. If you enjoy these podcasts, we invite you to write a review on the Apple Podcast site or wherever you get your podcasts. For more information about Temple Beth Am Los Angeles, go to tbala.org.